Hello and welcome to a very special edition of the Cinemile called Throne Mile.
Yes, you can guess what we're about to talk about.
It's Monday morning, it's 6:30 and we got up to watch Game of Thrones.
Yes,
7.
because we decided that it would be fun to do a review of Game of Thrones and realised we had no free night this week, so thought it would be a really smart and clever thing to do to get up really early and watch it. And now we're kind of regretting it, but we've gotten up, so...
We're just sitting in our garden.
Yes, I'm really regretting it because I have a day off work, so I've actually gotten up this early at 8 months pregnant and I'm totally tired.
Very impressed.
To watch Game of Thrones. And in preparation, we watched Game of Thrones, the story so far, last night, which was very helpful to me. And so I kind of went to bed.
You haven't seen most of it.
No, I've only seen seasons 1, 5 and 6, which is a bit weird.
So I'm sure a lot of people are listening like, what?
Yeah.
How
but
could
I
you
always
not watch it all?
I always kind of knew what was going on in it anyway, because everyone was talking about it. And then I jumped back in season 5. It turns out you don't really need to have seen seasons 2 to 4 at all.
Ooh, controversial.
You just need to watch these Atlantic things that they put together every year. To summarise the show. And Dave's seen every episode, so I just annoy Dave throughout the episodes going, wait, who's he again?
I think you do find you. It's not that you don't understand what's happening or who people are, because I'm able to explain it to you. But you've missed the experience of.
I mean, I did miss the Red Wedding.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
I reckon I missed nothing in season 2.
Firstly, we should be clear that we in this episode we are going to spoil. Possibly spoil everything that's happened in Game of Thrones season 1 to 6,
and we'll spoil
far.
season 7 episode 1,
and we will spoil season 7 episode 1.
So we're
going
to
talk. I'm
yeah.
So tired.
So we're going to do this. We're going to do this today, and then if people listen to it or like it, we'll do it again. Now Game of Thrones is 7 episodes long this season. Our baby's due in 6 weeks, so we'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
That finale is going to be an interesting.
If we do watch them all, you may get the 7th review in like 3 months, 4 months.
All right, let's go watch this.
Bye.
So we've just watched episode 1 of season 7 of Game of Thrones, and Cathy is just walking me to the train.
Yes.
We are sticking with our. Yes, we do. So we got to be relatively quick, but we are sticking with our concept of actually walking to and from places. We haven't moved too far away from our actual podcast.
So we did a TV review once before when we binged the night of, quite early on in the podcast. And we tried to go and see Sausage Party, and we missed it. So then we just did a big, massive review of the night of instead. But this is different because this is like episodic, whereas we reviewed the whole series in one go. So what we're going to do, because Game of Thrones is quite complicated, is go character by character, not scene by scene.
Yeah.
So kicks off with an awesome opening scene.
What did you think of that?
The opening scene of the episode.
What did you think of the episode first?
I thought it was good. Like, you know, it was always usually a setup episode, the first one.
Yeah.
But because they've only got 7 of them this time, it was a bit pacier than the usual first episode, which I like.
Yeah. I liked it as well. I mean, there was some good stuff in there. I think with Game of Thrones, the earlier episodes do tend to be a bit more slow.
Yeah.
And everyone remembers the big climactic stuff, but there's a lot of sort of setup, and we have to revisit every character and see where they all are, so you get a lot of that.
And we did not know, because we've never watched TV at 7 a.m. before. So the sun rises in the window right behind our TV. So
No, behind us.
Behind us,
so
we're watching the
TV was reflecting the intense light
behind
us. And this is a very dark show.
Yeah, so at some points I actually couldn't see what was happening on screen, I do have to admit, so that may hinder my review. I was like, wait, who are these people? I don't recognise them, I can't see what they're doing, and I can't really hear what they're doing.
So you think not being able to see what's going on or knowing or understanding any of it might be a problem?
Maybe, and also we had the volume down a little bit because we have guests, and I mean, as much as they like Game of Thrones, they didn't want to be hearing it at this hour of the morning.
No. Alright, so go on.
So opening scene. awesome. First of all, you spoiled it for me because I was like, oh, it's Walder Frey. It must be a flashback. And Dave's like, no, that's Arya. I'm like, all right, Dave.
Yeah, well, it's kind of obvious, right?
It was not obvious. I did not guess that, and you ruined it for me.
I thought flashback as well, but as soon as she made a big, or he, whatever, made a big deal of everybody taking a drink. You know, everybody drink, but not you. You don't take a drink.
It was quite funny that she said, I wouldn't waste wine on a girl. But yeah,
that was really badass.
That was such a good opening for the season, and I actually thought that actor must have been so pleased that he got to come back for a few minutes, having been killed off already.
Yeah, David Bradley, great actor. I loved the line, "Oh, you're all so brave for killing a pregnant woman."
Yeah, he said, I actually wrote that down. You slaughtered a pregnant woman, and you should be very proud of yourselves. So yeah, that was really enjoyable. And then she said, "The North remembers."
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good.
And then she said, wait, what was she said? Something else. The North remembers, and did she say something like, "You've paid your tell." No, she gave her another message.
But she delivered it quite badly, though. I actually couldn't quite hear what she was saying.
She said, when they ask you what happened, tell them the Freys have done some bad shit.
Yeah.
I think that's what she said.
And I just think that little girl was so pleased that her father was dead. And then we only have one more
I think that was his wife.
His wife?
Yeah. I think he had a really young...
Wait, was she like 9? Okay, that's disgusting.
I think so. I think he had a load of wives, didn't he?
Don't ask me. I don't even remember plots from...
No, I'm finding it hard to remember as well. Somebody please write in
and tell us. I'm just so glad that we watched the story so far last night, because all I could remember was Battle of the Bastards from last season.
That's all you could remember?
Yeah. And then
it's gonna be an interesting podcast,
the next scene with Arya, we have to move this along so Dave doesn't miss his train to work. The next scene, she meets Ed Sheeran. So that's a nice moment for any teenage girl.
Yeah, I thought that was lame. I didn't know he was going to be in it.
Why is it lame? To be fair, they only gave him one line.
But it's just a bit sort of... It's just pandering. It's like celebrity cameos in Game of Thrones now. It's a bit much.
It's not...
It is.
So cynical. I thought it was fine.
It's like...
If we didn't know who Ed Sheeran was, he certainly didn't stand out in the scene as being bad.
But what if, like, is Justin Bieber going to show up in the next episode?
Okay, there's a huge difference between a British celebrity singing a folk song and Justin Bieber showing up.
Oh, I don't know. It's just too winky noddy, and it was... anyway, it pulled me out of it, I'll be honest. I think previously their cameos have been a little more subtle and less famous. He's too famous to be in this.
But he's really normal looking, so like it's not the same as having
he didn't look out of place. If I hadn't known who he was, then I wouldn't have been like, oh, who's that ridiculous good-looking celebrity? Because whatever, he did blend in.
Do you think that they created the characters singing because Ed Sheeran was going to be in it, or did they put Ed Sheeran in that scene because the characters were singing?
No, I think that character is crucial to the plot, and he had to be singing. And then they were like, who could deliver this powerful performance of this singing travelling soldier?
She said, I don't know this song, and he's like, it's an original.
Ugh.
So it's like, oh, I wonder can we go and buy it now? That was the vibe I was getting. And then, so I didn't get who they were.
Worse.
I didn't understand who they were, but Dave explained to me they were Lannister
soldiers.
No,
I think they were Lannisters. I think, because I think they're from King's Landing, because they said they were sent up to keep the peace because the Freys had been murdered. And so there was unruliness, I guess.
And then she said, it was kind of a nice scene actually, because they were actually genuinely being nice to her, but she was so suspicious. Of course she's suspicious. And then they say, you know, what's a nice girl like you doing going to
in a place like this?
Yeah, like, why are you here? And then she's like, I'm going to kill the queen. And then they all laughed, and I quite enjoyed that moment. I thought
it was nice. A great scene. I thought I just loved that we finally see Arya getting a reminder of humanity. You know,
they said, my mom said I should always be nice to strangers, and she's like, but I murder strangers.
And she's like, and it was just nice to sort of see and experience the real side of Westeros. You know, you do get detached from the common people, and
the commoners.
Just these soldiers. They're just working class people on the job. He said, you know, my wife's had a baby. I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl. I will say they were all They were all bad actors. Yeah.
Like Ed Sheeran was no worse than any of the rest.
They were all really bad. So apologies to to all of them, but there was no good delivery.
I'm pretty sure the first thing they did after their debut on Game of Thrones aired was tune into the cinema.
No, but it was nice. But the Arya's it was just a nice moment for her, and her plotline has gotten so dark, and she's become so far removed from her own humanity.
But then, is she just going to kill them all if they're Lannister soldiers?
Well, that's where I thought it was going. Yeah. But she didn't, so that was
okay.
Nice.
Right, on to the next one because we don't have that much time.
Oh, there was a quick moment in the second scene where we saw the White Walkers coming. That was the only bit of the White Walkers we saw.
And they
have a zombie giant.
I think it was zombie 1-1.
No, it wasn't 1-1 because 1-1 would have died at Winterfell in the battle with a...
Yeah, no, they would have revived him, made him a zombie.
No, because he's at Winterfell. So they're up in the north, past the wall.
Oh.
So...
Oh, it's I'm just so pleased I remembered 1-1's name because he was on the story so far last night. So I was like, oh, 1-1, I remember that.
It's not 1-1. There's loads of giants. Well, there's not loads of them, but
I'm sticking by this theory. It's 1-1.
No, the geography of it doesn't make any sense.
Well, I fast forward the map every time, so I don't care about the geography.
He was at the Battle of the Bastards in Winterfell, which is way like the White Walkers are up, haven't even reached the wall yet.
Okay, fine. We'll agree
which
to
is the
disagree.
most northern point. No, we won't. I will agree that you are wrong, and everyone else who's listening will also agree. It's not 1-1.
And then we had one scene of Bran at the wall doing his usual boring shtick. I'm not into Bran at all.
Oh yeah.
What do you think of him?
What happened there? He's like,
I am Bran Stark.
And then they're like, open up. And then
he's got some woman looking after him, but I've forgotten who she is.
Okay, so she was her and the kid from Love Actually who grew up.
Oh yeah.
Who had some sort of mystery magical powers. He was a warg, and then he taught Bran how to warg into other animals. Right? Did you see any of that?
Vaguely. I don't remember any of that.
Or whatever. Okay, magical mystical nonsense. They got Bran to the tree people, and it sounds so stupid when I'm saying it.
Right. Well, we've got 15 minutes left to finish this podcast, so I'm done with Bran.
Okay.
The
Bran's
next,
boring.
Jon Snow and Sansa.
Yeah, so I thought that was a great scene where Jon's like...
He's rallying the North.
Yeah, and he's like... Sansa's all like, get rid of those traitorous Karstarks.
She's openly questioning him, and I'm like, I think you should question him. That's fine, this isn't a dictatorship. But don't do it. We're walking next to a building site. Don't question him in front of everyone else. Like, Sansa was just being that annoying person, like when you're in work, in a meeting, who questions things just to make their presence known instead of actually achieving anything. And he says, like, which I thought
Take it offline.
I will not punish a son for the sins of his father. And yesterday's wars don't matter anymore. I've clearly written this down. And then she goes, yeah, but Joffrey never let anyone question him either. And he says, okay, so you comparing me to Joffrey. And then she says, you're as far from Joffrey as anyone I've ever met. So then why did you bring Joffrey up, Sansa? That's what really annoys me.
You know, it's very passive-aggressive, isn't it?
It's very, and I love her.
Do you know who else used to do that?
Like
Joffrey.
I actually really like Sansa, but like she never does herself any favours. She's just sniping at Jon.
Yeah, I mean, she was a little out of line there. But I loved everything Jon was saying. That's like classic sort of Ned Stark, beautiful. But then she did say,
like, she did have a point.
She was right.
She said, well, Robb and my father were both killed. So.
Exactly, and they make stupid mistakes because they're honourable and well-intentioned and they do the right thing, and it got them killed.
How cool is the 8-year-old or whatever she is? I don't know, that little girl.
Yeah, what's her name again?
I don't know her name, but
she's so cool. And she was like, yeah, kids will fight because I'm also a kid.
Yeah, so that was fun. And then the next scene we see with them... Oh no, she says...
That's the last
I
we saw
learned a great
Jon.
Deal from Cersei.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. And then there's one more
Sansa
scene.
is just badass. And then there's another scene which opens with Brienne and Podrick fighting. This is the other scene in Winterfell, which was kind of fun.
Purely for the fans, because it was Tormund. Is that his name?
Tormund, yeah.
Tormund cracking onto Brienne, which is what everyone wants.
Although I read the other day that the actress who plays Brienne said that there's going to be nothing between her and Tormund.
Yeah, but she's just saying that.
Ooh.
But all they need to give us is one scene. That's all they gave last season.
Are you shipping them?
I'm shipping them. When he was eating like food and he was looking at her kind of lavishly, that was enough to send the internet crazy. So this scene will be as well.
So sexy.
And then Littlefinger is kind of doing his usual thing, and she says to Brienne, "I know what he wants," which implies he wants her. Is that what she's implying?
Well, and power. It's all he has ever wanted. He wants to be the king.
I like when he says, "Why aren't you happy?" And she's like, basically, I'd be happier if you fucked off and left me alone.
Yeah, but she also acknowledges that they need him and they need his army. I thought this scene in particular, and a lot of the dialogue in this whole episode, was really bad. I thought it was like really expository. She literally says the line Brienne says, "Why is he still here?" And she says, "We need him. His army came to rescue us at the battle
Yeah, like, we get that.
She says the words, Littlefinger saved us.
And I'm like, look, listen, lady, if we had neither watched the recap nor the previous 6 seasons at this point, you don't need to explain it to us.
Yeah, so much of the dialogue felt like previously on Game of Thrones. There's a whole, we'll jump to Cersei in a second, but there's a whole spiel that Cersei says to Jaime where she's like, our brother Tyrion...
Wait, Dave, you're spoiling... We need to... We've don't have that much time, so we're on to Cersei and Jaime now.
Fine, we're on to Cersei and Jaime now. And she says, our brother... murdered Joffrey and he murdered our father and he blah blah. It's like, yeah, we know, we saw all this in the recap.
I did enjoy this Cersei and Jaime scene because they're actually they're being quite cold to each other.
I enjoyed the map that they were that she was building. That was cool.
I thought that was really cool.
Painted. There's a lot of maps in this episode and we will get to that. Was the final scene as well, but I think so
she says, I'm queen of the 7 kingdoms, and Jaime says 3 kingdoms at best.
Yeah, that was a good line.
Which I loved.
That was really good.
And he's like, we haven't even spoken about Tommen, who barely got a mention in the last season either. Our baby boy killed himself. She's like, he was a traitor, which I didn't get. How did he betray her?
He betrayed her by killing himself.
Oh, is that what she means?
He said he betrayed me. She didn't say he's a traitor.
So basically she's like, I'm done with him.
Yeah, he killed himself.
And
I'm over him.
We're the last Lannisters who count. And he said, we have no Freys left, therefore no allies.
Yeah, Jaime's absolutely the voice of reason here.
So I don't think they're together anymore romantically. That's the vibe I'm getting.
Why does that matter?
It's like one of the most interesting things about Game of Thrones.
Cathy's like, are they boning?
Yeah.
Just let me know, alright?
I'm into Jaime and Cersei's relationship, but I don't think it's happening.
Nobody's into that.
And then she says, he's like, we've no allies, we're fucked. And we think, oh, Cersei's fucked. And then she says, do you think I listened to Father for 30 years and learned nothing?
And then that was a really good cliffhanger moment. And then it was like, oh, who's her allies? Can't wait to find that out. And then we found out instantly.
It's Theon's uncle.
Who, I forget his name, something Greyjoy anyway. Did you notice he was like dressed like in modern garb? He was like dressed in like a... He was wearing like a shirt and a leather jacket.
Yeah.
He looked like he'd just come out of some nightclub in Soho.
He was like that before. I reckon he looks like someone who would just be like in the bridge, like a cop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a great actor though. Actually, he is a Scandinavian actor, isn't he?
And he says, I'm the greatest captain of the 14 seas, and he proposes to her.
I thought he was great fun.
I think she's going to marry him, and I just think it's not a very strong alliance. Like, she's the queen, and he's just like kind of this loser.
Yeah, but so where do you think he's going to go? He said he's going to go get her a gift. Do you reckon he's going for Jon Snow's head? Is he going for Daenerys' head?
I didn't contemplate it at all. I lost interest as soon as the scene ended.
Oh.
I didn't find it that interesting, that scene.
Okay,
no time. On to Sam.
This is like speed dating.
Sam is a librarian who cleans up a lot of shit and piss and feeds people. And then Jim Broadbent showed up, so that was fun.
Did you think that was almost... It was like so close, that scene, that quick fire montage of shit and piss.
I enjoyed that scene.
Did you think it was like so close to being like a rap?
It was quite a beat to it.
It was like it felt like somebody on the internet with 10 minutes work could cut that together into a little...
At that point I was actually stretching my back and doing some yoga because it was sore.
Like one of those music videos where, people use loads of normal sounds to
create a song. It was like that. And I'm really happy Jim Broadbent's in it. And then we see him nicking keys to break into...
Oh, let's talk a little bit about Jim Broadbent. I thought he was great.
Yeah, he was really good.
Great scene. I like that he was like, I don't know who this character is. I'm pretty sure the book fans will
I'm sure
know.
He's the pathologist.
Yeah, but I liked how he was like so analytical. He was like, yes, if you're looking at the facts, I think...
And he says, you're not a maester, therefore you can't get to the library.
And then he was like, yeah, looking at the facts, you're obsessed with this, which probably means that you are telling the truth, and all the accounts are similar, so the White Walkers probably are real, but I don't really care because everything will be cool, basically.
He's like, now clean up this mess. Hey, what time is your train at? Because it's 23 minutes past 8.
Yeah, let's go.
And then I was confused in the next scene because his girlfriend was there, but I thought the whole point had been women weren't allowed to be in there in the last season.
I don't remember how that panned out.
Oh, okay.
I think maybe she was allowed to stay, special privileges or something.
And then he discovers about the mountain of Dragonglass.
Yeah, so there's a mountain of Dragonglass under a place called Dragonstone. I mean, that's kind of obvious. Why
Very
didn't they
obvious.
figure that out?
Now, this is when we got to the scene with the Hound, and our living room was so bright that we couldn't really tell what was happening.
It was very dark. So
with the Red Priest.
The Hound is with the Red Priest. There's a funny joke where he says something about his top knot. which I liked, and the dude with the eye patch, whose name I can't remember, but he's been brought back from the dead loads of times.
And then they come across a family that had clearly committed suicide because they were starving, and you reckon the Hound knew them?
Yes, so a few seasons ago, you weren't watching this, but when the Hound was on the road with Arya, they came across this family, a father and a daughter. They housed the two of them. They gave them food when they didn't have any food. They were very, very generous. And Arya, this is back before Arya was learning all her evil ways, partly because of the Hound. And the Hound robbed them, took all their gold, and
so now he feels guilty.
Left them to starve. So this is him, I think. So clearly we see that they starved to death. The father murdered the two of them to spare them from a horrible starvation death.
And obviously
so
the Hound feels bad. And then in the flames he sees the white wall. I'm like, yeah, we know that already. But I guess
now he believes, and now we know what they're doing. They're obviously on the side of protecting the White Walkers.
Oh, and we whisked one more thing off Sam's plot where we think is it Jorah, the grayscale guy? We think he's in the library.
Seems to be in the library in a prison. I guess maybe they treat people with grayscale there.
They seem to be studying the anatomy. So that was interesting. And then we've one more plot left, which will just about get you in time for work, which is Daenerys. Now, I was very underwhelmed by all the Daenerys stuff. I feel like every scene of Daenerys is her standing. Now, don't get me wrong, I love her. Her standing with her lips slightly parted, looking slightly in awe at something, seems to be the general stance of Daenerys.
No!
Whilst looking regal.
She wasn't in awe.
She just always has this certain facial expression of like, and like the camera angles and the music are telling us something amazing is happening.
She wasn't in awe. I think that was her
standing on her boat,
her family
like
home.
Smugly,
with
dragons flying around.
Smug, regal, sort of confidence. That's what.
Which is exactly how she ended last season, like the same stance, the same dragons, the same boat.
I disagree because I think so much of the rest of this episode was filled with like kind of useless dialogue, like don't forget Littlefinger saved us. Don't forget our brother is off with the Queen. It's like there's so much of characters.
Don't forget Rob was murdered at the Red Wedding.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much of that reminding us everything that happened, or characters telling each other why they're acting in a certain way. Really, that's bad writing. It's tell, don't show, that is. And then finally...
No, I agree that I like not that much dialogue. I just think I always get a bit bored of Daenerys.
No, but that's why this scene was good, because it was...
Oh, this road's loud.
It was all in her expression, and it's the power of this moment, and they let it breathe, and no one said anything, because this is her returning to her family home after.
So, do we think where she came? Where she arrived, is that where the dragon glass is? Is that place?
I think so. I think that's her Targaryen sort of HQ dragon stuff.
What I really enjoyed thinking about, because I was slightly bored by this scene, was that I read that her and Tyrion get like $500,000 an episode. Now Tyrion had no line in this episode, did he? He didn't say anything.
No.
So that is the pretty sweet $500,000 he just earned.
Oh yeah.
And she earned it too, but like she did say possibly two things.
She said,
and
"Let's
she did
begin."
Have her lips
Come on, that was
parted
pretty badass.
Yeah, that was how the episode. No, shall we begin?
Yeah,
that's how the episode ended.
Let's do this.
So
that was it. Did you think they had like a load of other options for that line, and they were just crossing them off? Like,
yeah.
Let's do this.
They gave Tyrion a line.
Let's take this mother.
I did enjoy that as the ending of the episode.
Come on, that was brilliant. It was almost as good as Frank Underwood knocking on the desk.
It was good.
In House of Cards. Like,
and so do you think, like, the overall... This is where I need a bit of clarification now. Is the overall battle for the throne, then, between... See, this is where I'm confused, because Cersei's on the throne. So,
yeah.
What is the overall point of the show now? That we're trying to witness them band together to get the White Walkers? Or is it that it's between Jon, Cersei, and Daenerys to get the throne?
Right,
like,
Cersei.
What's the overall point?
Cersei just wants to keep power no matter what. She wants to remove all her enemies.
And she wants a dynasty of her and her brother.
Yeah, who is Jon, who is Daenerys, etc., etc. All her enemies. Daenerys.
But she did invite Jon to come meet her.
No, she invited Jon to come and bend the knee, or he will be destroyed as a traitor.
Oh, okay.
That's what her message said. But so hang on. That's Daenerys wants to reclaim her throne because she sees herself as the rightful heir.
Does she think she should be on the Iron
Throne? Because her father was originally the king before Ned Stark and Robert Baratheon.
But to what end does Daenerys want to be on the throne? That's what I'm a bit confused by.
To rule the Seven Kingdoms and unite everyone. And she'd be a better ruler than Cersei.
Would she mind if Jon became king? Like, would she try and fight him, or would they have a happy alliance?
We don't know. She's not even aware of Jon, as far as I know. Jon's not really on the map yet. He's only just united the North, don't forget.
So is she Jon's aunt then? Did we learn that in the last season?
Yeah, but she doesn't know that, and neither does he.
Okay.
Only Bran knows that.
So who, as an audience then, are we supposed to be rooting for? Jon or Daenerys?
You can root for whoever you like. Jon is the only one focused on the actual threat, who are the White Walkers.
Yeah,
he's not after the throne.
The whole plot of this season is going to be that actually the White Walkers are coming, and forget all your petty human squabbles. This is the real battle.
Well, exactly, but it's who's going to do that and to what degree. Like Cersei, I don't think will ever unite with anyone, even in the face of a greater threat.
In this episode, it almost feels like Cersei. It kind of feels like she's a non-player now, doesn't it?
I don't think so. I think there's more to come from her. She'll hold on to that throne no matter what.
It feels like at the moment it's Daenerys' game to lose.
I think it's going to be Daenerys and Jon teaming up to fight the White Walkers at the very end, right?
Do you think Daenerys and Jon will do...
It's dragons versus ice.
The kind of politics of Game of Thrones. Would they get married, even though she's his aunt? You know the way everyone seems to marry for these alliances.
I mean, yeah, I think the Targaryens used to do that a lot, yeah, as far as I know.
So when is everyone going to find out he's a Targaryen? Because there's only 6 episodes left, and then it doesn't come on for another 2 years.
I guess when Bran finally decides to get interesting and tells people that he had a vision.
What's your goal?
Maybe nobody would believe him.
My immediate goal...
Why would you believe him?
I really want Arya and Sansa to meet up, but I think they won't meet up till the last episode of the last ever season. I don't
know, it's getting there.
Well, she's only at King's Landing now, and Sansa's at Winterfell.
Sansa's at Winterfell.
Yeah.
No, she's not at King's Landing. Although, yeah, she's going the wrong way. Arya's going south towards King's Landing. Anyway, let's wrap this up. I gotta get on this train.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, let us know.
We'll see if anyone listens to it.
If you want to hear more of us talking about the rest of the series.
But yeah, apologies for people who are really into it. Oh, and we forgot to say neither of us have actually read the books.
No, so I don't know. Is she at Dragonstone? Is Daenerys at Dragonstone? I'm just assuming. I'm assuming a lot of this. I'm trying to fill in the gaps from watching the show. The show doesn't always give you all the information.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to pack in.
I don't go and read loads of stuff on the internet because
no, we never read the internet.
I have too much.
So what was that? About 65 minutes, and like they got a lot in there. I think it was a really successful first episode.
Yeah, successful and but I fear now with this show that it's just become, it's going to be plot. They've only got 2 seasons left. They've only got 7 episodes in this, so I feel like it's going to all get a little condensed, which I didn't like the way it was squeezed. I felt like the writing suffered a lot, and I don't think the characters are gonna have enough room to breathe. I think they're just gonna get by on the fact that we've spent so long with these characters and we already love them. That's what they're trading on.
Well, to be fair, there's a lot less characters now. I mean, at this point, we don't have Ramsay Bolton, we don't have Stannis.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of them. So,
but it was good. I enjoyed it. Good setup.
Yeah,
We're probably spoiling it for everyone else on the train platform here.
Yeah, I know. We must be pissing everyone off. Okay,
come on, let's go.
Okay.
Do let us know if this was useful, or if you want us to shut up. Tweet us at the Cinemile, email us at thecinemile@gmail.com, or we're on Facebook as well. Please head to our Facebook page, just search the Cinemile.
Okay.
All right, bye.